Hello, everyone. This is Monique Linnell, and this is Monique Linnell's Living with a Purpose blog. So, today, the actual subject is going to be for May. We're starting May. It's going to be about sowing all this month. So, the first week is sowing seeds. So, this one is going to be about sowing with money. So, I have a story about sewing with money. So, I was working my job. I was working at NASA, which I'm no longer there, but I was there for almost 8 years. But when I first started, I was making a certain amount, and I had started tithing. I was at this the church that I used to go to, and I was doing it off my net. And then I was like, I was thinking about the tithing and offering. So I was getting paid steady, and I wanted an increase at some point. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I want a seed in the ground every day. So what I did was say, okay, like if you sow seeds, you're supposed to get a harvest. So what I meant by seeds in the ground wasn't technical. It's like the money seeds. Like I'm gonna sow financial seeds to receive a harvest in a financial way. However, it's also, along with my tithe. So I started to set it aside for $1 each day, so that every 2 weeks it would be taken out in chunks. So really is like was $28 a month if you think about it, if it's 4 weeks in a month, because some months have 5 weeks. But so every other week I was given, so it was like 365 seeds would be in for a year. So when I wanted another increase, I did that faithfully for like a year or two. And when I was starting to pray to God about an increase, and I was able to say to the Lord, I've been faithful over a few things, right? So I said to the Lord, if he gave me an increase, for one, I would switch to gross. That meant to go off of the gross of my check as opposed to the net of my check. So if you don't know what the net and the gross are, so the gross is the overall what you make before taxes, before Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and all that stuff is taken out. That's what you get. So I was tithing off of my net, which meant whatever came into my account after they took all of that stuff out. So I had done the sowing of the seeds along with my tithe, which was the net, for about 2 years. And then I wanted an increase in pay and job, whatever. And I just was believing God for it. And I said, I'm going to increase my seed to $2 a day, and I would go to gross. So from 2016 to 2019, I was in the same position, and things were about to change in that position, and I wasn't sure how I was going to go. And I just was like, I needed more in pay. So I ended up getting like $10 more. I was able to put in an application in the same contract, just another office, and I will be getting paid $10 more. But I had increased my seed offering to $2 a day. So that's double 365, right? So that's like 700 something. So I did that, and I continued to do that, and I went off of the gross. So then what was it? It was the end of 2019. That's when I went from net to gross. I ended up getting another raise because they had merged our offices. And that was right when I decided to go from net to gross. And I was like, what? I'm telling you this because it's not about just the money amount. I wanted more to be able to take care of myself, just have it, increase, be able to pay my bills and be okay, right? And so when I told the Lord that I've been faithful over a few things, I wasn't just talking, I was doing it every single month for years. So that when we were bringing in 2020, they ended up giving me back pay for a few months, and they had given me a raise as of December and March 2020. It was effective right when COVID was happening, and I happened to be moving. I was moving from a 2-bedroom apartment renting that was going up. My rent was going to go up, and I asked God specifically. I said I want a bigger place and to pay less. So that's why I ended up coming out to Baltimore from where my apartment was in Greenbelt, near where I worked. So my rent, I was going to rent that home and see if I liked the area enough. I asked specifically, I wanted to go down a certain amount of hundreds of dollars. I ended up going down $300 in my rent, but I was in a 4-bedroom house and renting, as opposed to a 2-bedroom apartment. So it was exactly what I wanted. Same thing happened. I was there for about almost 2 years, and then I said I want to own my home. If I'm working, I've been working on my credit. I was working on stuff. I was doing stuff to rehabilitate that, to make sure that was cool. And so I was able to get in a position to buy a home and in this similar area, right? And so I was able to do that. And so I feel like I got a blessing with that. I'm a veteran, so I was able to get zero down. I was able to do certain stuff. And I went for a lower amount than I could even afford. But I said, I could afford to have gotten a house that was bigger at the time. And I could I was allowed a certain amount more from the lender. And I said, you know what? I want something practical, and I want to be paying less than what I was paying in rent. So it went down $200. I asked God, so I want the car that I want, but I want to pay $200 less than what I'm paying for the car I had. Now, the car I had was a 2017, and I got it off the showroom floor. But I was paying more because I did a trade-in, and my trade-in still had something on the back end, and I didn't want to stay in it because of an accident. So I was like, oh man, I don't want to keep it. It's not the same, whatever. So I got the new one. I was in that, but I was busting my hump to try to pay it because I was making less when I got it. So I was like, oh boy. Okay. Anyway, I got the car I wanted. I chose it. It was an older car, but with less miles, and it was the car I wanted. And I was going to be paying $200 less than what my other car was. And it wasn't even the same. It wasn't even the same type of car. You know what I'm saying? It worked well. It was good on gas mileage, and that's why I liked it. But, and it looked okay. So, but I ended up getting what I wanted. The year was older, but the mileage was less, and it was going to be $200 less. This is exactly what I asked for. The reason why I'm telling you this is because God is faithful. When faith without works is dead, and it's impossible to please God without faith. So I was like, Lord, I've been faithful over a few things, and I laid out the different things that I wanted to do. I was thinking practically, but I was like, Lord, I've been sowing. I've been sowing seeds. Lord, I've been tithing. I've been tithing for a long time. And God sustained me, and I stayed at that position literally for almost 8 years. And I ended up getting 2 more raises in the same position. Our supervisor had put in for one for all of us to get it, meaning everybody that was on that contract. The other one, the offices had merged and they gave me one. So it wasn't even like I had to ask them for a raise per se. But this happened down to last year. The supervisor put in for it again. I got another raise before I left, and they extended my time. The contract was supposed to end April 1st, and they extended mine till June, the end of June. And so, and I was able to have those months with the increase, and that was like $2 extra per hour, and it was $3 from the merge. So I was leaving almost making double what I came into that same contract with in 8 years. But I saw the increase when I asked God for the increase. And what I'm saying is, if you're faithful in your giving and you're faithful over time, God sees those things because you're doing a work, and he can work with you giving him your first fruits. And since I've not been working, I wasn't able to tithe the same. I am a veteran, so I get some certain stuff, but it's not like my income that I was getting. And I was getting paid pretty okay, but that was in addition to what I was receiving from the VA. So I was like doing okay. And I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make it now? Like, God still has sustained me. So some things people might see as an ailment and as bad, and some of the pain that I've endured and the things that I've went through that caused me pain are the same things that are now being restored in a way. Even though they might seem like, oh, these are bad things, some of the stuff, like, me losing my daughter while I was in the military, some of the things that I have to still deal with that are like, because of just being in the army and dealing with wear and tear, God has still sustained me, even in my body and the different things that I've had to deal with. It just seems like I'm still able to thrive. And I just I have had faith that God is a provider. And I just want to encourage you today. I feel like I'm talking and I'm being long-winded, but I know that somebody needs to hear this. This is the only reason why I'm talking and doing these Monday motivations, is because I feel like sometimes people need to hear practical things that people go through that could actually help them be better at what they're doing. And I'm just showing you that something worked. So at the end of the day, I look at God as a provider. I know that he has provided for me many of other times. So I know that he'll do it now. And there's so much more that I know that he has for me. And I know if he wants me to do a thing, then he's going to provide what I need to do it. So I don't know who needed to hear that, but be encouraged, because God is not mocked. He is going to take care of you, especially if you are sowing seeds in fertile ground and you're being faithful over a few things concerning God. You're putting him first, then he'll remember you when you're in need. And that's what I've seen him do for me. And I know he is a provider because he has done it for me over and over again. So don't give up on yourself. Sometimes you have to think, you might have to strategize, you might have to do different things, but we pay for all of these stupid little bills and then the big ones, so we can give to God. And I was like feeling like, okay, I'm coming into this new this new church in this different area, and I'm not in the same working space that I was before where I can just give like I could before. So in a way it felt like, for me, that's not comfortable because I want to be able to give, and I'm just like, I'm going to still sow seeds. And so I was like, I'm just going to start this month. And I put together all of these months for the whole year of what I was going to be talking about each month. So I'm like, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and not be doing exactly what it is that I'm telling other people about. I have to continue to sow seeds. And so I said I was going to triple it. When I went to triple it, that's when I got that last raise. And when I did that, that's when I got the extension for work. They said, "Oh, we don't want you to leave yet. We don't want you to leave yet." My initial supervisor didn't want me to go. It was the agency was making a choice. And usually when you're a contractor in government, you'll probably be on the chopping block first if they're cutting. It's just the way it is. So I kind of saw it coming, but I was like, "Oh boy. And then for me to still get that anyway, I was like, that's nothing but God that allowed that, because it didn't have to happen. So just remember to be faithful over a few things, and God sees that, and I hope this encourages someone to sow seeds in fertile ground. If you know that somebody's praying for you or blessing you, even if you're not in a church or congregation, and you don't know much about that, you can look up different things in the Word of God in reference to tithing or sowing seeds. You can just look up scriptures. I'll probably, when I post, I'll put some scriptures about sowing seeds, and I'll put some for the prior week. But I know this is long. I'm being long-winded, but I had to get it off my chest. So anyway, I feel like I said a lot. I just want you to be encouraged that when somebody is encouraging you and someone is leading you towards God, it's okay to go ahead and donate. Go ahead and give. Go ahead and, put some money where your mouth is. Because people do it for concerts of a person that never poured into your life, never prayed for you, never wished you well, never blessed your life. They just went up there and sang and danced and don't know you from anywhere, and or were doing some other, thing that we would pay for. Right? It's all kinds of acrobats, and we go to the circus, we go all these concerts, we go to, different places, and we'll pay for it. But when a man or woman of God is speaking into our life, or is praying for us and encouraging us, or someone just, thought of you and, encouraged you in your life, when you have more, then you should put into that, or give back your time. Like I was talking about the other week, give back your time. Say thank you, and don't be afraid to just bless somebody. It could be somebody that's in need on the street. You don't know how close or far you could be in that same situation. So sometimes you got to look out for those who can't look out for themselves, because God has looked out for you this long, So that's all I have to say for now, because I'll keep going on and on and on, child. You have to wait till the next one. I'm going to go ahead and record the next one. But God bless you and have a great week. This has been the Monday Motivation for Monique Linnell's Living with a Purpose, and 10-4, over and out.